Hello and welcome to another episode of the Suzie Wokabi podcast here at the beautiful Chesonia again and powered by the amazing Safaricom. So today, you guys, I have with me, I'll start with, you're kind of a friend in the industry. I'm going to learn a lot more about you today, but Mr. Ian Dennis, author, I call you a media expert, great presenter, and then dairy entrepreneur, apparently. So many things in one, and we're gonna unfold them all. Welcome to the show,
Thank you so much.
So happy to have you here.
Thanks so much.
We've been talking about this for a while.
Yes, finally. I forced myself here.
Not so much. You have your own podcast as well. Oh, sorry, podcaster. Yeah. Let's add that to the list. Yeah. And you podcasted me a little while ago, so I'm podcasting you now.
Yes, I had to do it first.
Right back at ya.
Yes. Yours is premiering tomorrow, actually. My new podcast, yes.
We're gonna put out all the promos,
yes,
right?
we should.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Thanks so much for having me on a beautiful set.
Thank you.
So it's black and yellow?
Black,
yellow,
Suzie
white.
Wokabi. I know, no. White, pink, black.
Everything.
The good things, and then you bring the color.
Yes.
So, I want to know
all
the things, first of all, the things I don't know, where it began, born, raised. Let's start there, and then I'll dig at ya.
From what exactly I was told, because I don't have a very good memory of my early life.
What?
Yeah. No, I was born in Eldoret, partly grew up in Kisumu, but largely I've grown up in Nairobi.
Okay.
So I don't have a very good memory of being born in Eldoret and growing up in Kisumu, but I've largely grown up in Nairobi.
Okay, kind of like
so
me.
Largely lived in Nairobi from I think when I was 6, 7, because previously my mom used to work for KCC.
Okay.
So I think maybe now it explains my daily life when I was just thinking about it.
Things come full circle.
But thinking about it
later in life, obviously. But go on.
So I've grown up in Nairobi. My initial school was Lepik in Riruta, where I schooled I think until I was class 2, and then went to SOS Primary School in Buruburu. That's where I did my class 8. And then high school, I went to 2 schools. So the first school I went to was a school in the rural area in Nyanza called Agorosare. But it's a national school.
Say the name?
Agorosare.
Agorosare.
Yeah, I don't know how I ended up there, but it was a school my dad was there. I was supposed to go to Maseno, and then it was like things, I don't know what happened, and then had to make leeway, and then I went to my father's school for a year, which is a very interesting...
when you say your father's school,
my father
he had gone
studied there.
He went there.
Studied there.
Oh,
it was it's a national school, but that particular school, literally, because growing up in Nairobi in a middle-class family, that school primarily helped me see another life. You know, when you say people don't have school fees, when guys go to boarding school and they don't have anything, that primarily through that particular school, I saw that why you see people who come from abject poverty. Yeah. But education becomes now an equalizer, and that's why I got to appreciate that. A school whereby at that particular point in time, you go to class and it doesn't have windows. Okay. You have to wake up at 4. But it was a good performing school. What's it called? It was a good experience. And then after that, I was lucky enough from Form 2 to Form 4. I went to a very good school, Light Academy International in Karen. That's where I did my Form 4. Yeah, and then university, I went to Strathmore, where I did Bachelor of Commerce and ACCA partly. And now graduating this coming Friday with my master's at Aga Khan University.
Oh, congratulations!
So that's sort of like my journey per se.
Masters in
digital journalism. So my undergraduate was in Bachelor of Commerce, had an interest in business. In between, I realized my passion was in media, so instead of quitting, I decided let me finish it out, which has actually helped me in my entrepreneurial journey. Yeah. And then, since I got into media, I was like, let me try to study it, which was actually very interesting. And
it's a different. That's a different way around that you did it.
Yes.
So you graduated university with commerce, whatever.
Yes.
I'm like, mine was international relations, whatever. Because you did not do that. I mean,
True.
You went in. How is that when you went into media after college?
Actually, my interest in media started coming in when I was in my second year.
Okay.
So I got to realize I got to notice about the communication department. I saw the gentleman there called Victor, who's still there using the cameras, and I just sort of like fell in love. I was like, this is very interesting. And then an idea came to mind whereby I wanted to do a show in the university. So it was called, I thought of an idea whereby I was very passionate. When I was in university, I think when I was getting to my second year, I sort of like became very passionate about purpose. And I got to understand that primarily being in a business school, I made my observation. The university lecturers used to teach us, most of them had not any hands-on skills in business.
What is that?
Yeah.
Like entrepreneurs should teach
entrepreneurship.
That.
And for me, I thought, why not? I got to realize that people who are in business are actually doing much better than any particular any lecturer that was there. And my journey was supposed to be, since I was doing Bachelor of Commerce, I specialized in accounting, I was supposed to go to a Big Four. That was supposed to be my journey, but in between, when in university, I joined a club, Strathmore Business Club, because my interest was there, and then I ended up becoming a president at a point. But the interest through that point was that I used to invite entrepreneurs over so that you can actually talk to the students and expose their minds. And then through that particular medium, I got to understand that entrepreneurship actually was the way, because the entrepreneurs who were there, one of them was Eugene Bugo when I met him when he was in university. He was telling us he was making $1 million a month. And I was like, if I was to go and become an auditor, but I would have to become a partner. By the time
in how long? Right?
By the time I'm getting to my 40s or my 50s, it's not making any sense. Yeah. But I got to realize, because for me, I always look at it as like I loved communication, and I'd seen what communication and media would do to individuals, because it was like a way to propel you to the society. Like you can get access that no one would have. It's a very interesting way to go through it.
Yeah.
So my initial entry was that I decided to intern at even before internship period at the communication department, got some interest, started going through YouTube videos. My mom paid me for college to go study those things.
You young people.
Yes.
You could have, you had YouTube University when,
But it was 2013, but things were quite slow then. But at least things were coming up. I understood tutorials and stuff. So I started going through it. I decided to register for college, and I went to college for my mom paid for it, but I was like, I went for like a week or two. I was like, what you're teaching me, I'd already learned it online.
It's done.
So it was not making any sense. And I was thinking from the practical skills that I'd gained from there, because I'd learned how to edit and shoot, I was like, let me set up a show in the university. So it's still on YouTube. It was called Ian Dennis Show. And the whole objective towards it was that I started to instill the essence of purpose towards my fellow students. Nice. Because within the campus, I had the likes of Billy Odhiambo who plays for Kenya Sevens. And the whole objective was to tell fellow students that just don't go through school for the sake of going through school and just ended up just going through the career, but you can actually be much more. So the whole objective was looking for guys within university who are doing more beyond school, having interviews with them, and then just getting to share with the fellow students. But also besides that, I set it up. Also, I think set up sort of like an event whereby I also used to invite these particular unique students to sort of like have interviews and guys to listen to it, which was actually quite a success.
So all this is particular skills that you innately have. One, I'm going to say like picking out these people, right? And two, having the confidence to go and be like, hey, you, come on my show. And not feeling nothing, right?
I'm like, even I call it Ian Dennis because I was like, yo, I'm big, even though I'm not there. But I always have this internal part of me whereby anything that I set my mind to be, my mind tells me I'm the best. And I literally work myself to ensure that I'm the best. That, sometimes it can be in your mind, but it doesn't come out. So I always ensure that there has to be that correlation.
You have zero imposter syndrome.
Nah.
God helped you.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Wow, that is amazing. Okay, cool. Okay, so you had the Ian Dennis show.
Yes.
How long did that? Oh, and how long did that go on for?
It was through university period.
How many did you do?
Maybe like 13, 12, 13.
That's
because
cool.
I remember through that particular period also I met Larry Mado. So one day while I was in the communication department, what's it called? The senior communication officer, because she understood I was very good with people and talking to people. So one day there was this particular team from South Africa who had come to Strathmore and they're like, Ian, take them over. I was like, oh, cool. So I was just telling them, I'm very confident.
Clearly.
I was in university, I was like, she avoided taking out the other guys who were working employed there. She chose me, take them around. It's like when I was taking them around and then I got into the auditorium, I saw Larry. I was like, oh, but this is the auditorium. Kindly just have a look at it. I was like, this is my shot. Because I remember when I wanted to do the Ian Dennis show, I'd send some emails to those guys who were presenters coming to my launch. Yeah. It's like, this is a big, in my mind, it was a big thing. I was like, now I understand why everybody ignored it.
But it had to be that to you then. No.
Yeah, but it's a good thing. And I approached Larry, I told him, I'm Ian, I'm interested in media. What's it called? I have my own show and I'm very passionate about it and I'd like you to mentor me. And then he's like, come over to the Trend when you're still hosting the Trend. I used to go to the train, just sit behind the scenes and just watch how everything was.
That's brilliant.
For a period of like 2-3 years.
No, that is not for nothing.
It was not for nothing.
Yeah.
Because I think being there, I observed what is happening in the newsroom. I used to see what was happening. I used to stay in the director's booth. When the guests were coming, I used to hang out with them and used to make my connections.
That's priceless.
Yeah, and it was extremely priceless. And the thing is just that particular presence. Just being there, just observing Larry do his stuff, observing the other guys do his stuff. And I think there's so many things that I picked up from that particular period that I actually picked up from observation, even from less conversations.
Yeah.
And I got to understand why Larry he is who he is, and the other probably news anchors, they are where they are.
Yes.
Because there's a differentiator.
Yes.
And I saw how exactly he used to go about his business, how exactly he used to think, how exactly he used to go about his way.
And
I liked
things
that,
done.
and I picked and just get things done.
Yeah.
And I think from that it was a very nice experience.
I tell I tell junior makeup artists, I'm like, study, apprentice under a professional. That's
True.
That knowledge you'll get, you'll never
It's priceless.
be able to get it from books or school
can't.
or reading or
True.
even YouTube University.
You can't.
Doing the practical,
Yeah.
which is what you did,
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
And primarily, it was not even, I wouldn't say practical per se, but it was more about observation. And I'm good thing I was like, you're able to pick it. Even because sometimes, even when it comes to mentorship, sometimes mentorship is not like having a sit down with somebody and telling you, this is how you go about life.
That
But
he
you can
was your
observe.
mentor. Exactly.
You can observe.
I say I have like a few mentors who don't even know I'm they're my
Yeah.
mentors, because I watch them. I watch, I
Listen,
study them.
And you learn.
Yeah.
And for me, I think most of my mentors, people actually just observe by observation.
Yes.
I don't need to have a session with
No,
you to get anything
you
from
might
you.
never need to meet.
Yeah, you don't even know to meet.
Yeah.
I think just by seeing that, and if you're keen enough, you're able to pick what exactly it is that they're doing that you can actually borrow from.
Exactly.
And you can actually get to understand why they are where they are, and because nothing is by coincidence.
Yeah.
Even Larry getting where he is right now, it's not by coincidence.
Yeah.
He has worked himself out. He's smart himself out, and I think it's not by coincidence.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so come your entrance. Now you've studied and
Yes.
you've studied. Where did your foot go into?
So before I finished campus, I met a mentor of mine, and then at that particular point, my interest was in business, but my also interest in business, but interest in media. So he set up a company called Figure Studios in production. So he set up, it was in State House Avenue. So he set up, what's it called, a production studio. So for my internship, that's primarily what I did for my internship, my business. Because for me, I was like, I'd had a bad experience before. And I'd never liked it. I'd tried looking, I think when I was in campus, early in campus, I was trying to look for an internship, and then I was like, oh, you've applied, and then wait. I was like, no. I need
You
to
set
create
up
more
your own
opportunities.
internship.
Yeah, because
okay, but then now, setting up a studio and whatever, that
Yeah.
takes money and...
No, so he was investing into it. So it's sort of like...
Your mentor?
So
Okay.
he was doing the capital investment, and then I was now supposed to become now the driver of it.
Oh, nice.
So he gets sort of like a majority owner, and then I become also the other owner in terms of that particular business.
That's brilliant.
And,
also.
so for me that was, because for me I realized I'm like, I don't know, my mentality is that you're not just, and one idea is what exactly defines you.
Yes.
For that particular period, like this is one of the entrance into it. And the interesting thing about it is that my first assignment and my first job was doing the, Sauti Sol then were launching up the album Live and Die in Africa. And then there were a friend of mine who was a partner then, who was also a Dan Ulizaki. You remember Ulizaki Atu by Had the Band? There's a song called Ulizaki Atu.
By who?
Had the Band. You need to look for that song. Such a beautiful song. So I used to jump to it. He made an animation for it. Sauti Sol saw it, and then they called me. And then there was like, you have this new song. Bian is on, you should call me. And then you need to do a lyric video for it. I was not very good then on doing animation, but I was like, yes, I can do it.
Of course. No, but that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to be like,
and then
no,
figure
I'm not the
yourself
one.
out.
Yeah, you figure it out
And then I was
very
like,
fast.
I figured it out. And then, so the song was Surayako.
Oh,
like he sent me the
my
lyric
gosh.
video, and then I was like, I told my mom, hey, Sauti Sol have sent me a song. And they want me to do a lyric video, and I have no idea. So I was like, YouTube University. I was like, we need to launch this song. Like, what's it called? They sent me on a Friday, they wanted it by Monday. Hey, I think that's the period in my life I remember I didn't sleep.
You better not have.
But it ended up going out, and it was good.
It was good.
Yeah, so my first glance was Sauti Sol.
Also, what they say about if it doesn't make you extremely scared or like you're sleeping through the night, it's not going to be big and good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good story.
Yeah,
See, there's so many things I didn't know.
Yeah, so Beard called me. I was like, I'll do it. Nini. So over the weekend I tried to work through it. Just like animation video, lyric video for it, because then lyric video coming into place. So like I did it, made some bit of animation, of course put in my humor in there because I love humor.
Because you
I'm
are
just
the
cheesy.
king of cheese.
I know.
Go on.
I know it makes people go cheese anyway. It's fine. Yeah, so I remember what was it called? Yeah, so we did it, and then on Monday they came to the office because then we had already done our office. It was in State House. Like they came through. Then I think it was in Chimano's car. They came all 4 of them.
Nice.
And then it was very interesting. They came, saw it, liked it, made a few changes, and then it went out.
So this is what year?
I think 2014, 2015 there.
Suriaka was that old?
Suriaka, it's that old, imagine. But it's such a beautiful song.
I feel like I was dancing to it like 2 years ago. Okay.
Imagine.
But
Suriaka is a change.
I knew all. Thank you. I knew all those moves, man. That song was serious.
Yeah, so that was the first job that you did there.
That is very cool.
Yeah, so it was cool. It was a nice experience because also at that particular point, sort of like, you're that employer per se, had learned my way through leadership, how to run through it, like firsthand, how to deal with people.
So you're doing the HR, you're doing
literally everything.
All parts of the business, yeah.
And it was an interesting experience because I think you're tossed into it early, you're tossed into leadership early, you're tossed into responsibilities early, and it was a very good experience for the period that I did the business.
Okay, and then is that business still there? Or?
So I left with my partners to continue because I wanted to transition. So I transitioned next to another business in training. So I think all between my life of all, because I think 20s is for you to experience your gifts.
Yeah, true.
And for me, that's what I always kept in my mind.
Nobody's ever put it like that. That's completely true.
Yeah, because 20s, for me, it's always try to figure out your gifts before. And for me, that's what I've always been trying to do.
You know, and it's a decade to like mess up,
you can
fix
mess
it.
Up, yes.
Like,
and to gain the experience that you need. Because I think, because I just turned 30 last year. I'm now 30, I'm turning 31 this year. But for me, it was, I always believe my 20s. But primarily I think for me it was a decade for me to reflect and trying to experience have as many experience as possible, but also to get to understand the gifts that I have and trying to explore them. Some of the gifts that I got to realize that I also have is teaching and training. I'm very good at it. I can teach I can teach anything.
You can teach,
yeah, because I consume a lot.
Okay.
I consume a lot.
You take it in.
I take
proper.
it in, and I'm very good in terms of trying to express it out.
You obviously have a good memory.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
I do. So I enjoy reading a lot because I think after campus, that's when I started realizing actually, I think going through campus, because I think the narratives you're sold, go to campus, get a job, I got to realize maybe this was just crap because we don't go to literally get to learn.
Yeah.
And many a times when you go through campus or going through a school institution, they never really get to teach you what exactly you need to know. I think, and most of the learning that you need to know about life is literally about you yourself trying to pursue it. Because you didn't know about tax, or what's it called? Yes, you were taught about taxes, but you didn't understand how the KRA system works. You literally find it by yourself.
Yeah.
You're not taught how to literally maybe do 60-second pitch. You're not trained how to relate to people.
Yeah.
As in, there's so many things you're not taught in campus.
You learn on the job.
Yeah, you have to learn. And if you don't learn it early, literally gets to a point of like, you're 30-year-old, like, can't do a presentation. I've seen guys who are like that. I've seen a big CFO who can't stand in front of people and give a speech because they don't have the confidence to stand in front of people.
Or I mean, if this is his first few times trying it, no, you have to have tried and
20s is the time to
build
try.
the confidence. And
True,
build
and 20s is the time to try
exactly,
it. And I think sometimes school doesn't give you that particular opportunity to try it. Or maybe it does give you the opportunity, but maybe people are not aware of the opportunity that actually gives you for you to try it. So for me, my 20s were literally for me to explore my gifts, trying to experiment with so many different things. And then I think that particular combination is now makes me who I am today. Yeah.
Okay, so you talked about, so you went from there to teaching.
Yeah,
teaching
so
what?
I had an idea. I loved consuming LinkedIn Learning.
You had an idea? Crazy.
Yeah, so I always have so many ideas. But primarily, I enjoyed LinkedIn Learning. And I think for me, that's the best resource tool that anybody in the world can actually get to consume. LinkedIn Learning. It was lynda.com, and then now LinkedIn bought it. So it's an e-learning platform whereby they teach you about everything, if it's data, commerce, communication, and everything.
So you're teaching me now because I don't know
you should. Actually, I think for me, anybody, and it's like, I think a 3,000 a month subscription, but you can learn about anything. It has the best resources. So I uncovered it back then, whatever, past my campus. And I used to learn so much about it, learned much about innovation and stuff, and that developed an interest. And then from that, I had an idea, why not create this for the Kenyan market? So why not do an e-learning? So I came up with an idea called Vici, and the whole idea was supposed to, how can I, create resource tools for guys to learn online on the e-learning platform. So we set up a company called Vici, and then we worked through the e-learning platform with a friend of mine called Marvin. He's very good in terms of matters, what's it called, tech. I'm very good in terms of content and all that stuff. We worked together, created this e-commerce site. So I used to do explain animations. I used to look for industry experts and trying to have them. Even I got Victoria to did it to do for me a course. It's primarily the whole
Victoria,
idea.
She was on one of my podcasts too.
Interesting.
She's so amazing. Yeah.
Oh, she's lovely.
Yeah.
So primarily we tried putting out, looked for some investment, but I got to realize that I needed much more investment that I could actually raise at the time, and then also realized I didn't have enough resources because I was the one doing the teaching, I was the one getting the materials. You can't do it.
You can't overstretch.
So it hit me that why not, instead of trying to force this idea to work because I didn't have the capacity, I resorted to now, why not do corporate training? And one of the interesting areas that I had was around innovation, because literally every organization needs to have innovation. So it's like I created a course around innovation, and I started knocking around corporate doors. I'm like, yeah, I can do for you. I can do for your team. First of all, I set it up. I think I set it up at Pride Inn back then. I set up a date. I'm doing to do a training on innovation. I started going through corporates to send me guys. I think I had like 5 or 10 corporates who sent me guys, and we did the first, and it was nice.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, maybe, yeah, I'm actually good at it, and the feedback was lovely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I did that for a while before the opportunity at Standard knocked.
When did that happen?
I think it was in, mid 2018.
Okay.
So primarily after having finished my
This
campus,
is Standard Media.
Yeah. So after having finished my campus, my objective was like, let me go into business. Because for me, I always had my thoughts around employment. It was like, let me try to experience for myself. Yeah, because I've always I've never been a believer of climbing the corporate ladder. I'm like, no, I always believe try to create your own ladder unless an opportunity gets to knock.
Yeah.
But I think then Standard were advertising for a role in video on demand because they're trying to transition as a media house. It's like, I just, what's it called? Actually, I was being pulled by a friend of mine, try to apply for it. I was like, let me just, because it was my first job ever to apply after campus. After my internship period, I was like, nah, let me.
Yeah,
So,
which you gave up on. And
then
then
I created mine. So like, it came on, and then I was called for 3 opportunities, and then I ended up coming in as the head of video on demand.
Wait.
Yeah, so I think, and for me, I think it was an interesting time because I got in, I was like, I had no media background apart from maybe I used to do articles for Nation.
Excuse me, the Ian Dennis show.
No, I mean, like apart from that, it was nothing as big. It was only big in my mind. And I always make sure it resonated out. But
that's the way to do it.
But I used to write for Nation, and I remember I used to do very interesting articles back then that were doing quite well for Nation. I remember I'd volunteered to become a producer for Dr. Foneke. He was at Ibru, so I was like, yeah, you have a show, I can come become your producer. So I'd done so many things in and around media out of volunteering or maybe doing freelance work. So that particular culmination, I got the opportunity. Yeah,
I would have given you that immediately. Yes.
Yeah, so and then I think also my ability to literally, what's it called? I don't know.
Gift of the gab, talk
I was like, yeah, this guy deserves it.
I don't know, 20 people in one body.
I was very confident.
Yeah.
I remember it was my first interview. I'd created my reel. I walked into the interview room even with my Bluetooth speaker, my computer. I was like, I can talk, but see what I've done.
Press play.
See what I've done. Because I'd done some YouTube shows I was doing with some friends of mine. So I sort of like had a profile for it, and then that's how I got in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're such a, I mean, if I was an employer, like I want a candidate like that.
Yeah,
like, you know?
I was like, so it's interesting. But my objective.
Very cool. So sorry.
But my objective getting in was like, it's an opportunity for me to eventually get to TV and get to do the idea of the show that I had then called Business Coach. Because through my staff, I'd had this idea. I was like, I can do a show whereby primarily I can interlink SMEs to experts, and I've done it. I remember when I was running my business figure, I was telling my guys, I have this idea. They're like, this guy, you always have so many ideas. You always have so many ideas. But then my ideas always so many. I was like, you guys are not listening to me. So one day I just like, I got my cameras, went, shot a pilot by myself, edited it, and then I packaged it. I was like, no, let me go pitch to guys. I went to Nation, pitched, and then I think the lady who was there moved before it came to fruition. And then the idea Standard came in. I was like, when I'm getting to Standard, I have to get this on TV. 6 months in, I pitched it, and then I ran it for like 3 years.
So is that where we met?
Yes, that's where we met.
Yeah.
Yes.
So wait, just quickly. Okay, I'll tell you. Can I put
Please.
something together for you?
Yes.
Business coach, right? First of all, you said you were interested in business. You're good at teaching.
Yeah.
Coach, and production TV. Yeah. So all those three came together in one.
Yes, it did.
Eventually.
Eventually, yes.
Your three passions or your three extreme interests.
Yes.
You see, you're like a genius. Wow.
No, yeah, it sort of like him, and then I think it just embroids my, or rather, what's it called? Embeds all.
No,
that English word.
We know the word. Embraces.
Everything. Yes, it embraces everything.
Yeah.
Because my purpose, I got to learn is just three things: create, teach, and guide.
Is that your defined purpose?
That's my defined purpose.
Fantastic.
Like creating ideas, creating content. That's why my mind is always jumping and stuff. I love creating things, businesses, ideas, thoughts. Teaching, I'm very good at that. I think I need to do more YouTube videos if time allows. And then guiding, I'm such a good coach because I've been a business coach for the Synapse program. And I've helped different particular entrepreneurs jump from 100,000 to millions. So I think I'm such a good coach.
So we talk after this also?
Yeah. I'm very good. And it's not that I'm bragging because I've tried it. You know, sometimes
it's tried and true.
When you've tried it and then you've done it, I think you have the confidence to speak about it.
No, speak your speak. No, don't squash it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that ran for 3 years, you're saying?
No, the show, yes, I did it for 3 years now.
What years?
I think from 2019 to 2021.
So inside of COVID also?
Yeah, I was still doing it.
Right?
Yeah, it was like the best, had the biggest viewership for business.
Wow.
And I think I did over 150 shows each and every week on prime time. I enjoyed it.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's kind of super huge. So amazing time, space. Were you still doing things on the side during that? What?
I get bored. I can't do
what
one thing.
84 things were you doing?
Of course, the corporate job because I got in as a head of video on demand.
Right.
An opportunity came in. I became head of innovation at the Standard. So what I used to train then actually came in later because an opportunity opened at the Standard a year in. I was like head of innovation and I applied for it and I got it.
Nice.
So that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years. Besides that, also, I used to do the show. So the two things I used to double for the Standard. And besides that, I used to do my coaching. I used to do my training. So I get bored doing one thing.
Obviously.
Yeah, I get bored. Because I think because anything that I do, I want to be fully present there. And you can't do anything for 8 hours.
To be fully present.
You can't be fully present for 8 hours. So you're always trying to find out how you can actually do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, even the corporate job, I'm like, I need to do these ideas. I'm like, you'll have good 4 hours. Maximum you can do it.
So
and
that 8 hour job, like 9 to 5s, you're all treating each other.
Yeah, you can't.
Because half of that is coffee, talking,
which doesn't make sense.
Online, and then 4 hours of work.
Because primarily that's when you do deep work.
Yeah.
Because you can't say you're going to do that. So that's why I always find different things to do. Either you're preparing for the next part, or you're leaving now, or you're trying to express. So that's how I am.
That's how you operate.
That's how I just operate. Because I always anything that I do, I have to give it 100%. Especially if my mind and my heart is for it, I always do it 100%.
Nice.
But I always know I can't do it for 8 hours.
Yeah.
So I always have to do at least 3 or 4 things a day. Yeah. So before coming here yesterday night, I was in the processing plant. In the morning, I was I was doing a distribution to a client. I went to get some my containers for the dairy plant. Done branding. Now I'm here, and then at night I need to prepare.
Yeah, I had the audacity to ask you, like, hey, are you free? Actually, it's 2 hours before. You're like, I still have 94 things to finish before I'm coming.
I was like,
got you. All right.
No, because I think you have to live every day fully.
Yeah. No, I love it so much. Okay. I mean, you made me first of all feel like I don't do anything.
No.
I need to restart my life.
Look at you. I'm the one who needs to be like you. I need to build a business.
Okay. You're giving me something to work towards. When I grow up, I'll be more like you. Okay. So you're still in Standard Media, head of innovation.
Yes, but planning to transition. And God willing, yes.
Okay, still in there.
I'm still there now. Let's speak of the present. I'm still
okay.
I'm still in Standard.
But then you have again 73 more plans. Yeah. Tell me about your entrepreneurship journey in the dairy world.
So I've tried different things. I've been in production, I think, but one of the interests I have is in dairy. So I've set up a company called Mojo Delight because I've had this interest for a long time.
Because you said your mom.
My mom was. I just reconnected it when you mentioned it. But because one day where I used to stay before was that I observed these guys used to sell yogurt. It was like, I'm a fan of yogurt. I was like, I liked it. I was like, I wanted to invest in them. It was during COVID, but I think so many things happened. It didn't quite transpire. So I started off this particular journey. I was like, I had this interest. It's always just been burning in me. I'm like, so started looking for the brand name, and then actually went for classes for it, because I think any particular
for branding.
No. For dairy.
Oh, for dairy. Okay.
Yeah. Because I always say that any business that you want to get into, one of the key things is that you have to understand the intricacies.
Yes.
Maybe for ladies who maybe want to either maybe spice up what exactly it is that they do.
All right.
So I found myself in some classes where I'm the only dude.
And of course your confidence is
I don't care what you guys think.
There.
I'm like that. I'm sure they're always wondering, what's this young guy doing here? And I'm sure the trainer was like, I'm like,
what is your story?
Yeah, but anyway, it's in its infancy stages. But the whole objective behind this is just how I'm very interested in value addition. So primarily yogurt, mala, ice cream for a start. And so registered the trademark. It's called Mojo. It took a while to actually get there. And then I'm actually quite happy that now we started slowly to penetrate the market. Because in the morning there are quite 3 or 4 restaurants in town that you're serving, and other that are actually coming into place.
Nice.
Whatever created employment for now, 3 people trying to build it together. Nice. So I hope it's something, I cannot talk much about it, but in 3 years' time, hopefully we'll have built an empire out of it.
Fine.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting journey,
because
I'm like, because it's able to make me get out of my comfort zone, because right now, as I told you yesterday night, I was in the processing plant, processing yogurt and whatever. It's so interesting to do.
So it's a completely,
It's a completely different world.
Area is that?
Yeah, and
from
I'm
what
like,
you know.
Yeah, and it's so interesting, because right now, what's it called? I learned processing, I learned all those aspects.
Well, you also definitely have to have some interest in that.
Yeah, you must have some interest.
If you put me there, I'll fall asleep.
But I think anything that my mind gets to lock in, I'm like, I have to do everything.
Anyway.
Yeah, and that's primarily, an interesting journey that I'm doing. So at least I have a team of guys who are doing it.
Yeah.
I'm still holding on to processing for now until we scale to a particular point, and then maybe I can get someone into it. So it's an interesting aspect out of it.
And you've started nicely. You started small, and you can build on it.
Lean.
It's still yours. You don't have to bring on big partners yet.
Yes.
There'll be a time for that.
True, and every time. And I think also part of my past business interest have actually shown me how exactly to go about it, because I've made some mistakes before in terms of partnerships, how to go for it,
People
terms
don't
of how
understand
to scale
the importance of partnerships.
And my advice out of my experience is that whenever you're starting anything and the one with the vision, don't be in a rush to try to look for, because most of the time, we people who have ideas never have the money.
Yes.
And that primarily gives you pressure, but I'm like, try to scale it out slowly with the little that you have, and trying to look for alternatives. I've had to look for so many different alternatives. Try to at least make this particular idea work before you try to seek for any investment. Because when you're in a business and you have the wrong partnership, that thing cannot grow, regardless of how much money has been put in there.
Yeah.
Because one of my previous business, had an infinite cash injection, but it couldn't grow because the partnership was not symbiotic, or can I say it was not. I don't know how I can put it, but it was not. You didn't have the same vision.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
and if you don't have the same vision, I'm like,
that's the end.
That's the end.
Yeah.
Regardless of how much money you have, and I'm like, and business is literally built on the early years are literally the most important aspect.
Yeah,
that's what I got to learn.
Yes.
And if you do it wrongly, because I think I've done it wrongly so many times, I'm now very, very aware now not to do it.
Okay, good. So with all your confidence and all your boss moves in the right big directions, there have been some slips and slides.
And you get to learn from them. I think one of the ones that I learned is partnerships, because my earlier business is like, never be in a business with someone whom you don't share the same vision and the values. Vision and values.
Yes.
Yeah, you may be together, and be cautious with anybody who tries to, especially partnership, anybody who tries to say praise God or believes in God. Be cautious. I've learned it, I've seen it. Just be extremely cautious.
So don't do partnerships with Christians.
Not Christians, but don't do partnerships with, how can I say, those fake Christians.
Okay.
Yeah, and there are many of them.
Yeah.
Anybody else say, oh, you're about to sit, let's pray. Where you? You. Sorry. Anybody, I'm like, it's nice being, I'm a believer, yes, but I just be cautious with believers. Me, that's what I will say.
Or over-believer, like...
Yeah, big over-cautious with believers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Because there's I think guys use the aspect of faith to literally mask out who they are. And many people actually do that. So that's why I'm very cautious. Any person who wants to, it's nice to, because you never hear a Muslim shouting, I'm Muslim. You always see it by themselves and by their values. But Christians always shout, I'm Christians, I'm a believer, I believe in God and stuff. But I'm like, your values don't count.
The actions don't
The
match.
actions don't count. And for me, that's one of the experiences I got. So I'm like, I like believers, but I'm like, I just keep my distance because I've seen it one too many times.
Okay. What else? Any other big lesson?
Always, what's it called? One of the lessons, like any business that you actually do, regardless of what exactly it is, always get to know the intricacies.
Exactly.
Like,
I was going to say, what you did with Larry.
Just try to understand the intricacies. If you're setting let me just give a business in production, understand what production is, understand what exactly
all
makes it
the
go,
steps.
so that you don't make projections out of your thoughts, but make projections out of your actions.
Yes.
And I think that's a very important aspect. And then another thing I've also learned is that money doesn't build businesses. Money doesn't build businesses.
No,
it's visions that build. It's visions and leaders who build businesses.
Yes.
Because I've been to both sides. Startup phase and also been in the corporate side, and I've seen both sides experiencing turmoils in the startup, which is expected, and I've also seen in the corporate, which is unexpected. And
money couldn't fix it.
Yeah.
And money couldn't fix that turmoil.
Money cannot fix it.
Yes.
Leadership does.
Yes.
Leadership is actually the equalizer.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I've learned. I'm like, if any skill that you can actually learn, if getting into entrepreneurship is not selling, learning to sell is good, but learning to be a leader is the best thing you can actually do. Because as a leader, you are literally the one to ensure that vision is implemented. You're the one who's supposed to be a step ahead of your team.
You're the driver.
You're the driver. Yeah, you can sell as much, but if you're a leader, but if you're not a leader, the business is going to fail. Because I've seen it even in friends' businesses. I've seen it in the corporate side. If you have a weak leader, I'm like,
that's a disaster.
And the thing is, I'm like, even with the appointments of CEOs, even with like most organizations, they want to employ someone, they appoint an accountant. You can be very good in money, but if you're not a good leader, that business cannot go anywhere. Even in a startup, in a corporate, if you're not a good leader.
In government. Even
in government, yes. And government's another objective, and let me even just not get into it.
Oh,
but I'm like,
that you're getting to.
No. That I have opinions on, strong opinions.
I know.
But let me keep it to myself.
Yeah.
But leadership is primarily what everything lies on.
Yeah.
If leadership is poor, whether in the startup, even in the home.
Oh, for
if you have a poor husband, I'm like, you'll never go anywhere.
Even wife, yes.
Even wife. If you have a poor wife, you'll never go anywhere. If you have a poor boss, you'll never go anywhere. So leadership is a core important thing that people ignore.
Yeah.
People always think when you get into entrepreneurship, I have to be good at selling. You can employ someone to sell for you.
And then I have money, let me be an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't. If you're not a good leader, I think that's the thing I've learned. Just understand leadership. Even one of the trainings I do is around leadership. And leadership is primarily two things: vision and voice. Vision, primarily you're the one who bears the vision for any particular business. You're supposed to be a step ahead. If this is to happen, you already thought about it and you've thought of a solution.
Yes.
So, and you as a leader, you always have to communicate your vision, and your team has to understand your vision, and you have to carry the burden of the vision. Like even me doing my small dairy thing, I'm like, I'm the one, I'm carrying that vision. I've employed some people, but I carry that vision. Sometimes go with them to clients because I'm carrying that vision. Because I'm the leader for this. And another thing is about voice. Because the only thing a leader has above everybody else is just the voice. I'm like, we listen to what the president says because you have given him a voice above all of us.
That's true.
A CEO is a CEO because he has a voice above everybody else. Anything he says, we listen to it because he has a voice above everybody else. But the challenge is that most leaders don't utilize their voice. That's why their vision never comes to light. Because the essence of leadership is to utilize your voice to air out your vision. Because a vision only comes out through a voice. And I think most people don't understand this particular dynamics, and that's why most businesses are not able to grow, maybe they're not able to, get to their levels, and maybe that's why some businesses are struggling, because of just leadership.
Yeah. Can I add a V to that?
Yes.
Verbs. Put verbs in your nouns, like do. Do as well.
Yes.
Right?
True.
Don't just talk.
Do it.
Yes.
And I agree with that, yes, because it's action. And action, because everything now intertwines itself.
Yeah.
So it's three V's.
Yeah.
Vision, voice and verbs. Yeah.
We should write a book together.
We should. I'm very passionate.
So he's also an author.
Yes.
You wrote a beautiful book.
Yes.
And he put me in it. The business conquest.
Yes.
And I asked you about it. Like,
yes.
You were trying to. Did you interview everyone, or you just ended up writing about some of them?
No. Everybody in the book primarily have had a personal interaction.
You did
been part
interview them.
Some have interviewed, but most of them have been part of their journey.
You are in it.
Yes.
So you could write about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how many people did you include in there?
It should be how many? It's I think close to 24.
Yeah.
No, actually close to 28. Yes, because it's 14 chapters. Yes.
And just like all, like really, I really enjoyed them. They're very powerful stories and messages,
yes.
and you spread it out really nicely. So you guys buy the book, buy the
Business
book.
Conquest.
Yes, it's amazing. Okay, what else? One more thing, because I know there's 80 more. Yeah. But in conclusion.
But the Business Conquest primarily was just what's it called? COVID. It actually came out. It was a
COVID baby.
It was a COVID baby because I happened to have COVID and I happened to be in hospital because of COVID.
Right, you told me.
Yeah, and then out of that particular experience, I observed this old man who had COVID, then died. I was like, this life is extremely short, and I was like, the only thing that you can actually live in this particular life is the lessons and the reflections that you have for the next generation, and that's what exactly brought about the idea of the book. So I was like, I'd done a show that I'd interviewed so many people, I'd had so many business interactions. So for me, it was like, how can I share all these particular thoughts and share these thoughts, accumulated in stories that you can have seen and experienced, so that people can actually get to learn
in one medium.
In one particular medium. So around 14 chapters, I share different aspects. How do you go about branding? Your chapter around how can you sell a business? There's a chapter about power of a dream, which I think is such an important aspect, because the thing that all of us have been given is dreams, but unfortunately not all of us are able to live our dreams. And when you're not able to live your dream, there's always something about it. So what exactly can we learn from those who have lived their dreams? And I think that's primarily one of the core things that I did about the book. And I'm like, I need now to push it more, because I'd put it a kidogo on the side so that I finished my master's. Now I need to push it and push the mission more, because everybody now needs to become a business conqueror. Because I think for me, business is...
So since we're pushing it more, where do we get it? Where does everyone get it?
So they can order through my pages, through my website.
Oh, tell us all your pages, by the way. So
Ian Dennis Network, all across all particular platforms. They can also check out iandennis.africa, and also they can order it on Nuria, the Nuria store. Yes.
Perfect. Hope you all heard.
Yes.
I have my copy, a signed one.
Yes.
So, this was amazing.
Time flies so fast.
I know when you're having fun.
I've
I've learned a lot more than I thought I would. I didn't know so many of these little bits of your life.
There's so many.
And there's stuff you even left out, right?
Yes.
It's okay, we'll continue.
We should do a part 2.
I know, right? Thank you so much for gracing me with your presence.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad this finally happened. Black and yellow. That was the only cheese you put in.
Yes.
You guys, if you watch the podcast, I was like this most of the time, with the puns and the cheese, but still so fun. So fun. You're the funnest guy.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've also enjoyed it. It's always a good conversation.
I know.
When I'm on this side, I try to be serious. When on the other side, I'm like, no.
That's when you're controlling it. You take it all.
When I control it, I'm like, I'm very cheesy.
All the way silly.
Yeah.
But it's so fun. All right. I want to thank you again.
Yeah.
This was amazing. Everything I hoped it would be, actually a bit more. And I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of the Suzie Wokabi podcast here at Chesonia. And thank you, Safaricom, for the sponsorship. Thank you, Mr. Ian Dennis. You all have heard where to find him. Follow, like, subscribe.